name's Genesis. I got pregnant when I was 18, but I had her when I was 19. The guy that I got pregnant by, I didn't want to keep the baby. Before I got pregnant, I was doing a bunch of nasty stuff, drugs, drinking. So when I got pregnant, my whole life changed. I started to come to church. I had to obviously stop doing everything I was doing. It just changed my life.
Texas has among the highest teen birth rates in the United States. Some communities in Dallas have teen birth rates even higher than sub-Saharan Africa. But why does such a conservative state like Texas have such a high rate of unprotected sex among teenagers?
Don't have sex, because you will get pregnant and die. Don't have sex in the missionary position. Don't have sex standing up. Just don't do it. Promise? Okay, everybody take some rubbers.
We have to begin by looking into our culture. Teens are expected to not have sex, yet we see sex everywhere, from billboards to music to television. Beside parental and school education, the media has demonstrated to be one of the main sources of sex education among youth. These kinds of images are the first to set an example not only among teenagers, but also among kids. Many studies have tackled the subject of sex within the media. Among them is one by Pediatrics, a medical journal by the American Academy of Pediatrics. They concluded that the media serves as a type of super peer who convinces teenagers that sex is something everybody is doing. With such an extreme emphasis on sexuality, how do we expect to change the way teenagers think? Not only that, but sex in the media is shown with an overall positivity. Pediatrics concluded that 75% of primetime programs contain sexual content, yet only 14% of sexual incidents mention any risks or responsibilities of sexual activity. This means that many teenagers are pushed towards sex without an accurate vision of the consequences. So how can we change this? Many would argue that we can't fix the media because it is what it is. But even if we can't fix the media, we do have some control over the type of media we let our youth watch, or at least the way these messages are understood. For the main part, however, this relies on the teenager's parents. In fact, home environments play a huge role on the way teenagers develop. Additionally, parents have a great influence on a teenager's view of sex. In a study published by the American Journal of Health Studies, researchers discovered that most teen girls rely on their motherly figure for information about sex. As a result, they concluded that mothers are extremely important when it comes to proper communication about sex. This means that parents are an essential part of a teenager's sex education. They have the capability to talk directly and comfortably with their teenagers. This is why it is crucial for parents to develop a healthy relationship with their teenagers from a young age. It not only allows for comfortable sex talk, but also allows for a stronger bond between parent and teenager. How would you approach your kids about the topic of sex?
How would I bring it up?
Yes.
I guess when they're old enough and seem like they're getting interested in it, you just start talking to them about it.
There is really no age range to introduce the topic of sex to a child, although it would be most beneficial if it's before the age of 11. A child's curiosity varies, so there isn't a straightforward guide. However, if a child ever brings up the topic by him or herself, such as by posing a question like, "Where do babies come from?" parents shouldn't avoid the topic. Technical terms might be too complicated for a preschooler, but a basic and accurate explanation works. An early sex talk not only benefits a child's perception of sex, but it encourages an open conversation as they grow older. This means that a teenager will be more likely to talk to their parents comfortably about sex, relationships, and other intimacies. But of course, parents aren't the only part of a teenager's sex education. After all, teenagers don't spend most of their time at home. Sex education is one of the most important topics covered in middle and high schools. Besides the media and parents, this is the place where teenagers expect to gain the most accurate information about sex. But what happens when schools solely focus on preventing teenagers from having sex as opposed to teaching them about safe sex? According to the Texas Freedom Network Fund, more than 1/4 of Texas schools did not teach sex education, and more than half taught abstinence-only courses in 2016. Coincidentally, Texas was ranked 5 out of 51 states, including the District of Columbia, on the final 2015 teen birth rates among females aged 15 to 19. There were 10,161 births from girls below the ages of 17 in 2015. This is otherwise 16% of all teen births out of the whole United States. So what exactly are we doing wrong? Taken straight from the DISD Human Sexuality Instruction Guide is this quote: "Teach contraception and condom use if instruction on contraception and condoms is included in the curriculum." Why is contraception, a crucial component of sexual relationships, the one thing that is optional to teach? First, we need to consider our current sex education system. Abstinence-only education is the main type of sex education in Texas schools. Supporters of this type of education believe that teaching about safe sex encourages teens to have sex. However, a lack of education about safe sex only causes more pregnancies and STDs among teenagers. According to several studies from the University of California, San Diego State University, and Providence College, abstinence-only education has no significant difference in sexual activity amongst teenagers than its counterparts. Why are we funding programs that have little effectiveness in the prevention of unsafe sex? Instead, programs like Abstinence Plus not only discourage teenagers from having early sex, but also informs them about safety methods. It gives teenagers a degree of freedom to make their own reasonable decisions. After all, isn't our main goal for teenagers to become independent adults?
If you're going to have sex, you're going to have it no matter what, and I think like contraception education is like important to like making it safe. Taught people about rubbers and bananas. So many like STDs, STIs, and babies would just not happen.
So why should we care? For the same reason that people care about pollution or charities or stray animals, to make the world a better place. Teenagers are the future of this country. The media, parents, and sex education are some of the many factors that allow youth to learn and grow. The avoidance of early problems like teen pregnancy or STDs means that teenagers have more time to focus on issues they are passionate about. Not only that, but they can actively influence their friends and future children, like the feeble flap of a butterfly's wing or the weak wrinkle of a ripple of water. We can cause a reaction that could travel millions of miles. So how do we begin? For once, parents need to speak to their teenagers about sex. It will not only help their teenager make safer decisions, but also allow them to develop a deeper bond. There is dozens of websites where parents can acquire helpful information such as Planned Parenthood, an organization that provides information about reproductive health. However, it not only depends on the parents, but also the education system. An education focused on Abstinence Plus would greatly benefit students because it both encourages them to deter from sex before marriage and teaches them about the consequences of unprotected sex with accurate information. This would ideally decrease the number of unwanted teen pregnancies. But we can't just think about it. We need to act. If the district doesn't give in to a better sex education for students, we need to speak out. We must inform anyone we can about why this topic is important. So right now, get your phone out, log into your social media accounts, and type in #ChangeSexEd at DISD. By doing this, we can pressure the district into providing the sex education that we need. We must unite and support the future advocates for this country.